In 1957, a 28-year-old linguist named Noam Chomsky published a thin gray book that told half the field they were wasting their time. Quote, "It must be recognized that the notion probability of a sentence is an entirely useless one." 40 years later, an engineer at IBM named Fred Jelinek would say, "Every time I fire a linguist, the performance of the speech recognizer goes up." This video is the story of the fight between those two sentences. Last episode, ALPAC, 1966. The government pulled machine translation funding and the field froze for 20 years. But here's what you didn't see. By 1957, before ALPAC, before the Georgetown demo even happened, an argument was already happening in a small room at MIT. An argument about what language is. Is it a finite set of rules that you study by writing them down? Or is it a statistical pattern that you learn by watching billions of examples? In V2, we called this the CL versus NLP split. Now you get to see where the split was born. Today's 3 beats. First, what Chomsky actually said in 1957 and why it landed like a thunderclap. Second, the poverty of stimulus argument, which shut down statistical NLP for 30 years. Third, the rebellion. How a Czech American engineer at IBM brought statistics back and what we learned. 1957. Noam Chomsky is 28, an assistant professor at MIT. He publishes a 120-page book called Syntactic Structures with a small Dutch publisher called Mouton. The first print run is 1,000 copies. Within 10 years, it will be the most cited work in modern linguistics. His core idea is that human language is generative, not a list of memorized phrases, a finite set of rules, mostly unconscious, that can produce an infinite number of new and well-formed sentences. You've never heard the sentence I'm about to say next, but you'll know whether it's grammatical the moment you hear it. And then he wrote the sentence that broke the statistician's will. Quote, "Colorless green ideas sleep furiously." That sentence has never been uttered before in the history of English. Its statistical probability is effectively 0, but every native speaker can tell you it is grammatical. That, Chomsky said, proves grammar is not statistics. Chomsky's bigger argument is more interesting. He notices that children learn grammar with almost no negative feedback. Nobody tells a 3-year-old which sentences are ungrammatical. They just hear examples and somehow extract the rules from wildly insufficient data. His conclusion: the structure of grammar must be partly innate. We're born with a language acquisition device. The role of data is to set parameters in a system that's already there. If language is innate, you don't build it up from frequencies. You decode it from structure. This view dominated linguistics for 30 years. From 1960 to 1990, if you proposed a statistical approach at a major conference, you'd be politely ignored. Funding went to formal grammars, parsers, theorem provers. Statistical NLP was unfashionable. Career suicide unfashionable. But empiricists never quite go extinct. They just get small. The 1980s. Yorktown Heights, New York. IBM Watson Research Center. A Czech-American engineer named Frederick Jelinek runs the speech recognition group. He has a problem and a hammer. Speech recognition was a field where rule-based approaches had completely failed. So Jelinek had been forced to use statistics. He'd watched probability models eat rule systems for breakfast, and he was tired of being told linguists knew better. Hence the famous quote, "Every time I fire a linguist, the performance of the speech recognizer goes up." By 1993, Jelinek's IBM team published a paper called The Mathematics of Statistical Machine Translation. For the first time, a statistical system beat the best rule-based MT system on real text. The empiricists were back. They'd never been gone. They'd just been waiting for compute to catch up. With hindsight, both sides were right, and both were wrong. Chomsky was right that simple frequencies don't capture grammatical structure. The empiricists were right that you can produce useful linguistic behavior without solving grammar first. The argument was real, but it framed a false choice. And then 2017 happened. Transformers, then LLMs. systems that learn from frequencies, pure empiricist heritage, but seem to internalize something that looks suspiciously like Chomsky's competence. The fight isn't resolved. It's been absorbed. 3 takeaways before the quiz. 1. Chomsky's 1957 move was to redefine language as generative, finite rules producing infinite sentences, and to argue that statistics can't capture this. 2. The poverty of stimulus argument made innate grammar the default assumption and made statistical NLP unfashionable for 30 years. 3. The empiricists came back through IBM speech and statistical MT. The fight isn't over, it's been folded into LLMs. Quiz 1. In what year did Chomsky publish Syntactic Structures? A 1948, B 1957, C 1966, or D 1980? B. 1957. Mouton, Dutch publisher, 120 pages. The same year B.F. Skinner published Verbal Behavior on the Opposite Side of the Argument. Quiz 2. Which sentence is Chomsky's example of grammatical but meaningless? A. The dog barks loudly. B. Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. C. Every time I fire a linguist. Or D. I think therefore I am. B. Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. It's grammatical, semantically nonsensical, and statistically near zero in probability. Exactly the case statistical methods miss. Last quiz. Who said, every time I fire a linguist, the performance of the speech recognizer goes up? A. Chomsky, B. Peirce, C. Frederick Jelinek, or D. Turing? C. Jelinek, the IBM speech recognition lead in the 1980s, the empiricist counterpunch to Chomsky's 30-year dominance. Back to the running puzzle. The Chomsky-vs-statistics fight is the puzzle in its sharpest form. Does a system that produces grammatical sentences understand grammar? Chomsky says no. Jelinek says, who cares? LLMs say, maybe the question is wrong. Next time, we go back to the rules side and look at the 30-year era when NLP literally meant writing grammar rules by hand. Most of it failed. Some of it is still in production. It's stranger than you think. Next time, the rule-based era of NLP. 30 years of writing grammar by hand. Some of it broke immediately. Some of it is still in production today. Hit subscribe if you want it the day it drops.